Welcome to the Movie Draft Podcast. I am Ethan Simi, and today I am joined by two wonderful guests. First up is Sophia Ciminello.
Hello.
And next up is Giovani Lago.
Hello.
And today we are drafting the 2026 Best Picture nominees in a collaborative draft. Sophia, welcome back to the show. You won the Nepo Baby draft last time. Congratulations. You've won again.
Thank you. Yeah, my third draft in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. The Nepo Baby draft was such a fun experiment, but I'm excited to do a collab draft today. Takes a little bit of the pressure off and just have fun with you two.
Yeah, well, that's what we think. And there are only 10 movies that we have to discuss here today. As Gio knows so wonderfully, Sophia, you set me up wonderfully for this talking point here. The Best Picture nominee collaboration, in theory, is easy. Last time we did it, Gio, it was you and myself and Casey Dunifer, who writes over at The Rolling Tape now. It wasn't so easy. Things got a little bit out of control. That was way back last year in March. You were on an episode a month after that in April, the Movies About Movies draft. You haven't been on the show in like 50 episodes.
I know. It's been a while.
How are you? Welcome back.
It's a mutual traumatizing event of my draft going wrong by trying to bait you with Fabelmans, and you didn't buy it. I was stuck with the Fabelmans instantly for way too much. And then B, you ruined the collaborative movie draft last year. Now, Sophia, I know you're here. I'm going to need you to like rein him in a bit, you know?
Okay.
Because
I'll try my best.
It was just an absolute butchering that we just have to set it straight. I feel like you've learned, you've done great work since. I've been listening. I've been ready for the call. I'm here. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
What happened?
A lot of talking points.
Complete unknown slander compared
I didn't
to,
do that.
Like,
I didn't do anything. Okay?
Just like
I'm not to blame.
Okay. You know.
So I think it's important.
Nickel Boy slander. I had to root hard for Nickel Boys.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do think it's important to note that on the Movies About Movies draft, it just pulled up the board. Now, this is a really old draft. If you haven't listened to it, you should probably go back and listen to it. You tried to bait me with the Fabelmans as like your first movie that you nommed, and you paid $100 for it, and nobody took the bait. And it was great. It was a great moment.
Okay, but
I walked away with Babylon.
Name my
super
last
fun.
picks at the end for how much I spent on them. I think I got bang for my buck.
Okay, sure. I can relive this for a moment. So you got the Fabelmans for $100.
Sure.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for $800.
Yeah.
Irma Vep for $1. Pretty good. 8.5, $58.
Yeah.
Inland Empire, $1.
Yeah.
And you got Bowfinger for $1.
Yeah.
So you did pretty good. You did not win that draft. Danny Jarabek won that draft. Not even close.
Those prices all over the place.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, crazy work.
Extender. What can I say?
I do remember that draft though, because Danny got Hugo for $50, Mulholland Drive for $51, Blowout for $125, Boogie Nights $218, La La Land $158, and Nope for $100. Just fucking slandered us.
Yeah,
unbelievable content.
That's a good team.
Yeah, it was like the equivalent of like when I watched the Knicks, and then by like the early and second quarter where I'm like, oh, we're losing this game. Like it was pretty early on. I was like, we're not winning this. It's done. It's over. Just have fun.
100% done and dusted. This collaborative draft is not done and dusted quite yet. The one from last year is, however, done and dusted. So I think it's important that we talk about this because Gio, I haven't talked to you in a while, and just the very first thing out of the gate is strays in my direction. So
I'm just setting the tone.
Have to defend.
I think tone is important, okay? Especially with this year. There's some good choices. There's some choices that are okay. I know some that I'm playing to my teammates' strengths here, Sophia. I know some that you just don't like that I can roll with. I can adjust, you know? I'm a team player.
Okay.
It's just you got to watch out for this guy cuz he's a wild character, you know? You can't.
It sounds like we want to collaborate though.
Isn't
that what we're here to do? We're here to collaborate.
I think Gio wants to collaborate with me.
That's exactly what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Bye.
A 2-person collaboration, and I'm just the wild card.
No, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be great. It's all jokes. Seriously.
Yeah. So this is what happened last year. Let's go through this real quick, and then I obviously do have a question for you guys to kind of kick off this pod. So last year in 10, Gio, you chose Amelia Perez. That's pretty much a given. That's 0 questions here. I put A Complete Unknown at 9. Casey dropped The Substance at 8. Gio, you played Wicked at 7. I put I'm Still Here at 6. Casey played The Brutalist at 5, which in my opinion was the biggest fuck up of that whole draft. You put Conclave at 4. I put Nickel Boys at 3. Casey played Anora at 2. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Gio, your hand was forced. You had to put Dune Part 2 at number 1.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us walked away very happy from that collaborative draft.
No.
So I'm hoping we can do better here right now on this episode. My question for you guys, Sophia, I'll start with you. Is this year's slate of 10 that we're going to be talking about, is it better than last year's slate of 10 that I just read off?
Definitely. I think if we were doing a collaborative draft of all of the movies from the past 2 years, I actually wonder how many of last year's movies would make the list. I would say we would have there would be an imbalance, maybe 70% 2025, 30% 2024. I think it might actually go in that direction. So I think last year, there were plenty of movies that I liked quite a bit. I love Nickel Boys and The Brutalist. Of those lists, I mean, Dune Part 2 at number 1 is all right. Wow.
I had no other choice. Look, it was literally by default.
Like Director Park. But I think this year we definitely have a stronger slate. And sometimes I think that alternates. We'll have a down year and then an up year. Like 2023 was fantastic too. So I think we bounced back a bit in 2025.
Yeah. I actually think you're right. I think that's a great idea. I had never considered doing a collaborative draft of kind of amassing some years of Best Picture nominees. I wonder what that would look like. Maybe in the future. We've done 2-part collaborative drafts before. We've done the entirety of Marvel. We've done a top 25 of the 21st century. Maybe that's something we visit next year and do a little, how we're shaping up so far. Gio, do you agree this year's slate of 10 better than last year's?
Yes. I will say it's more varied. I think this is the year that, since we fully expanded permanently to a lineup of 10, has shown the full range for better or worse. I don't think we would get something like F1 as often as to balance out something like one battle after.
Let's relax a little bit, Gio, on the F1 here, okay?
I
came to defend.
Look, I'm sorry you love your advertisement movie. It's okay. It's fine, It's just, and I think overall, it is very, very, I feel, at least to the credit of last year's lineup, probably the most inspired in terms of that it is like a post strikes COVID year where we were kind of the following year it's going to be really good when everything starts. It's no problems. And we really had to think, getting something like Nickel Boys in, I think it's still an amazing accomplishment to balance out an Anora or The Brutalist. But this year, I think the consensus is it's far more populous and also just some of the best things we got of this year to offer in terms of filmmaking. So I do love it a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to kind of call out. I think specifically looking at last year's list, Nickel Boys and The Substance are the 2 movies where people are like, wow, this is really cool that these are Best Picture nominees. And then, you have your Conclaves and Brutalists movies that were always going to be nominated for Best Picture. I agree with you guys. I think this year's slate is better, specifically because F1 is in it. There's no F1 last year, so we gotta take count of that while we can. So yeah, we're going to be talking about these movies. Obviously, we have a very interesting 10. I don't know where you guys stand on a ranking. I just made my list private on Letterboxd, so hopefully in the minutes that you've had to research for this draft, you didn't see that list. Who's to say? But you know what? I'm pretty vocal about the movies that I like or don't like. So with you two wanting to collaborate, I feel like I have a great devil's advocate shot here, and I do have a plan for this draft. Okay. I just want that to be known. Collaboration
to get
be damned.
F1 as high as possible.
Damn it. Maybe not. I don't know. No, I don't think that would be good for me. I don't think that would be good for the list. But it does raise an interesting question. what are we trying to do with the exercise here in talking about these movies? We're obviously going to kind of like dissect them, talk about them as Best Picture nominees, what we think of the movies as a whole. But when this ends, when this draft is over, we're going to have essentially a ranking, a collaborative draft. Is it important that we do the right thing? We get the right movies in the top 3 spots? Do we want to mix it up and try to make something like last time? Where are you guys at?
Sophia?
Yeah. I mean, I think I will just say, like, it's not my way or the highway all the time. I feel like I know it has to be number 1, but other than that, like, I am open to some variety. I think we can also, we can stay away maybe from just how Oscar voters might go just with likelihood. Like, we don't have to do it that way.
Sure.
I think instead, like, we can really think about the quality of the film overall and just what our trio's preference is. But yeah, I'm open. I just have like a top spot and a bottom spot, really. And I am flexible on the in-between.
Okay, cool. So the middle 8, anything could happen. We just need to get the 1 and the 10 correct.
I'm not going to give anything away.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of pressure. Gio, do you feel similarly? Are we just trying to represent us here as a trifecta?
Yeah, I don't think we need to like represent what the world wants or what the Academy should do. I think as long as we 3 are satisfied and it also just looks good at the end of the day. Like, I don't want to do this thing where we decide and then immediately like 5 minutes later, like, we should have really done that one. But I think we'll be good. I think.
That is the unfortunate reality of almost every single collaborative draft is as soon as the board is set, everybody realizes we screwed up. And that might happen here. I don't know. In theory, 10 movies makes it easier because generally we're working with a slate of 13 or more that are possible to collaborate on. We do strictly have the 10. So that is going to make this very interesting. Did you guys rewatch anything? I know between all of us, we've seen a lot of these Best Picture nominees for a long time now, like dating all the way back to either Cannes of last year, TIFF of last year, what have you. Did you guys watch anything like specifically that you wanted to be more fresh on for this, or do you feel pretty confident?
I've only recently, I saw One Battle After Another again recently. Surprise, surprise. I did rewatch The Secret Agent again recently too, because I hadn't seen that since Cannes. So it was not very fresh at all. I won't spoil what I thought of it, but in doing a lot of Oscar coverage, there are some I've just had to revisit. Even if it's just like watching featurettes for the film, learning more about the nominated crew members, I think it's given me a greater appreciation for some of the movies. But those were the only 2 I revisited, I think, very close to our draft time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't go in intentionally rewatching for the pod. I feel I've rewatched a bunch of these films like a countless number of times. That being said, I am visiting my mother, and I do a yearly tradition where she doesn't really go out of movies like that. So I always show her what is either going to be nominated or what is at the end of the day nominated. And then I get her to rank it, see her opinion. So during this past week, I did show her Hamnet, Begonia, F1. So those I'm refreshed on. More so when F1 got, I just left to go do stuff because I've seen it too many times. But Hamnet, I did. That was the first time I saw it since TIFF. And Ethan was there, and we were at that press screening, and it was like one of the most cathartic things ever, where ever since then, of course, everything has discourse. And I was like, is this going to be the one film that doesn't hold up? And I like had festival hype. I was watching with her, cried like a baby. And I was like, no, it's still great. I love it. Fantastic. I don't care. But I think I'm refreshed as one could be for this. I've seen a lot of these so many times.
Okay. I commend both of you on your strength in playing your hands like that, because I am not as refreshed as I want to be. Hence why I'm taking more of the chaotic route into this draft. There were 2 movies specifically I wanted to revisit in prep for this draft. Unfortunately, life just happens and I haven't been able to get to them. They are, oddly enough, the 2 movies that I saw at TIFF that I have not revisited since TIFF, which would be Hamnet and The Secret Agent. Those were the 2 movies. So I'm very curious, because I'm working with my 6 months ago thoughts, essentially at this point in time, how my opinions on those movies hold up and what our discourse around those movies will be, and specifically like the ranking. Other movies I've seen many, many times, as all of us kind of have. Gio, to your point of like, you're showing your mom movies. Molly, my partner, does not really watch movies either. Yeah. That's just like not her thing. We don't get to go to the movies because we have young kids and all of the things. She has actually seen 4 of the Best Picture nominees this year, which is like a
record. You're like,
a record. Yeah, we're doing the Lord's work over here. So I have seen a lot of these many times, and I actually did 2 days ago take her to go see One Battle After Another in 70 millimeter. It's doing a rerun at my rep theater. She's never seen a movie on 70. She's never seen One Battle. Okay. And so it was definitely good to be like, okay, cool. Yeah, this is, surprise, surprise, still holds up kind of a situation. Other than that, I feel pretty good about where I stand on the 10. So I'm really interested to see how we rank them. Obviously, we talk about what the plan is here, if we want to collaborate, if we want to go my way or the highway. Whatever the case is, whatever happens, we're going to have one board of the 10 Best Picture nominees ranked after this, however we decide to rank them. As always with collaborative drafts, I do want to give a special shout out to Screen Drafts, a wonderful pod that has influenced this layout and how we kind of do this over here on the Movie Draft Pod. We should discuss logistics and then we should draft. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we only have 10 movies possible for this, which is less than general or less than usual. So we're going to have 3 drafters. We've got drafter A is going to get picks 10, 7, 4, and 1. They're going to get 2 vetoes. Now, they're the only drafter with 4 picks in this draft, but they do get the number 1 slot, which will have essentially already been determined for them because there's only 10 movies available. So hence the extra drafting slot. Drafter B, 8, 5, and 2, they're going to get a single veto because they do essentially get to choose that number 1 spot. Mm-hmm. Drafter C is going to get spots 9, 6, and 3. They're going to get 1 veto, and they will have the single veto override of this draft, meaning that if I say that I play One Battle After Another at 9, and Sophia is not happy with that, she wants it higher up the board, she is free to veto that. Gio, if you had the veto override and you wanted to be a complete asshole, you could play the veto override and keep it at 9, right?
Okay.
The only stipulation with the veto override is it cannot be played on your own pick. So if I have the override and my pick gets vetoed, I cannot play the override on that own pick.
Sure.
Any questions before we embark on what you guys are hoping is a good time? What I'm expecting is going to be pretty diabolical.
I hope so.
I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good.
Okay. Let's talk about the eligible movies, and then I'm going to spin the spinner. So here's the 10 movies that we have to pick from today. We've got Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Those are going to be our 10. I do just want to note that I got all 10 correct on my predictions, so I still hold that very near and dear to my heart. Felt pretty good about that. Okay, let's draft. Let's commence the 2026 Best Picture nominees collaborative draft. Now, when your name gets spun, you don't have to choose your drafting spot right away. You can wait until it's all determined, but you do get to choose what drafting spot you want. One of the benefits of how this goes. Does anybody want a particular spot? Oh, wow, I can't believe I get to pick. Just
rigged.
God is good. Lord. You know, incredible work.
Collaborative drafts. I never know like which way is the right way to go. So I can't say like if I even have a preference or not.
Ooh. Yeah, I think what you say is correct, Sophia. I don't think there is a right or a wrong way for collaborative drafts. I think it's a crapshoot, whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the crapshoot that we are left with. I get to determine what I want. And then, Sophia, you get to pick. Gio, you're going to get the scraps.
Yeah, I'm used to it. Well, that's fine.
I hate to break it to you. Okay. So I want drafter. I kind of want. What do I want? 3. I trust you guys with the top spots. That's the thing. So I'm trying to do a little forward looking here. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think we're going to have a big problem come 3, 2, 1. Yeah. And I feel like we can all kind of get behind that. So I want to protect the bottom a little bit here. And in doing so, do I think someone's going to veto something that I want to override? Yeah, fuck it. I'll take drafter C. This was not on my board to take drafter C, but I'm going to do it.
Okay.
It's feeling good right in this very moment, and then afterwards, I think I messed up, but that's okay. So I'm gonna get 9, 6, and 3, the veto and the veto override. Sophia, you gonna be drafter A or B?
I'm gonna take A. So this is what I had in the PTA collaborative draft, and
okay,
I don't know. There's something comforting about going first, kind of setting the tone, having the option of 2 vetoes. I don't think I'm gonna have to use both of them, but just having them in my pocket, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, could be beneficial. I don't really foresee a lot of vetoes being played, but
I don't either.
I could be wrong on that. Okay, so you'll get 10, 7, 4, and 1. It makes me a little bit nervous with the 10 spot because you said there was a definite clear 10.
I think I know what it is too. I think I know what it is.
You know what mine is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know absolutely.
Gio, you're going to get drafter B. So you're going to get 8, 5, and 2. You're going to be the single veto.
Fine. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, unfortunately. Real grunt work with the single veto there.
Blue collar picks, you know?
really does kind of have that vibe. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's commence this collaborative draft here. If you pick the wrong thing at 10, I think we're in for a long okay. I'm just a little worried is all. So okay. Sophia,
well, you have a veto.
Go ahead. Yeah, but it's a 10. You know, be collaborative. We are here to be friends. We're here to work together. Okay. We want to help each other, don't we?
Okay.
Let her pick. You know, you're doing. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
I'm not doing anything.
You're not going to be upset about it.
You're going to be upset about this. I really don't think you will. I really don't think so.
All right.
So, my number 10 is from a director who I just truly cannot get on board with. I have tried so many times and it just doesn't work for me. His movies don't work for me. His collaborations with this actress do not work for me. And I saw this at Telluride and I thought it was absolutely abysmal. It was one of those experiences where I thought, why am I here? What do people see in this movie? And it is to this day my least favorite movie nominated for Best Picture since Don't Look Up, a movie that I almost left.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. I got to break that down for a second. You almost left Don't Look Up.
Oh yeah, I despise Don't Look Up. I think it's a horrible movie.
Phenomenal. I think it's a great film, and I think our friendship just really deepened.
I don't think about it at all if it makes you feel bad.
Yeah. John Hamm, Don Draper. I don't think about you at all, Adam McKay. But no,
wow.
I have to in this spot go with Begonia.
Yeah,
a movie that for me is a personal stain on this Best Picture lineup.
Mm-hmm. This is correct. This is right, in my opinion.
I told you wouldn't be mad at me.
Yeah, I don't have any I knew about this for a long time because we've talked about this before. And I remember like early in the year, the one movie in terms of like when we were like doing stuff at Next Best Picture for predictions, I was so anti-Begonia. I was like, this isn't going to hit. Because I knew the film it's based on of which I never watched, but if you knew an idea of that and the whole concept of this film and just that the fact that it's Yorgos Lanthimos, you kind of know what the ending's going to be. I feel like that whole tension is just absolutely pointless. And I don't think much about this movie. Like we did the John Draper bit. It's like my number 9 in my personal rankings of these films. I thought it was fine. Everyone seemed to love it. Somehow got into Best Picture. Emma Stone is just a darling now at this point. Sure.
And that's my other part of this is that, like, did Emma Stone need another Best Actress nomination? No. Should have been Chase Infinity. Like, when Yorgos Lanthimos has a movie in the race, I feel like it's there to crush my dreams a lot of the time. So I'm sticking it to him on this one, and I'm putting Begonia at 10.
Yeah. Yorgos does frequently comment on the YouTube videos, so I know
he's watching. Congratulations.
He's watching right now. Congrats
and people
for that.
love him, so they'll be upset with this, but it's my pick. So
it is. He is one of those guys where, like, when I watch his movies, for the most part, I like them, but I can never claim like Yorgos is like, oh, that's my guy. Like, I'm never like overly enthused about like, oh, a new Yorgos Lanthimos film is out. Like, I, for the most part, dig his vibe. Kinds of Kindness I thought was okay. This film I thought was okay. Like Poor Things I really enjoyed, but it's already like it's two years ago. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Maybe we work with other people, you know? Maybe let's take a break from Emma Stone. That's fine.
Yeah, that's crazy that I can't believe we all agree on this. This is just a delight to my heart. We're off to a good start. You're totally right. I've also been promised good things in the 10th slot and then been stabbed. So, you know, you just got to kind of protect yourself. So I apologize that I discounted your trust. It's a little confounding. I agree. Like I actually think your review is really good. Genuinely confounded by the praise for this. That was your Letterboxd review, which I agree. I think this movie is totally fine. Gio, you're spot on. If you know Yorgos and you know Emma Stone and you know them, you know exactly what's happening in this movie. And that's kind of frustrating. I just couldn't like really get on board for this. I think this movie does have some like really big plot problems, namely some things that are happening with Stavros's character, and
it's a
just
wild
like don't
dag, that it's
don't
like,
play any part in pretty much anything, which I think is weird. I agree with you guys on like we got to break up Yorgos and Emma Stone situation. It just is like not working for me really at all. I think people are going to have a big problem with this being at 10 because it's sitting at a 3.9 right now on Letterboxd. A lot of people are pretty stoked on this movie and think it is like pretty cutting edge for what Emma's doing, what Jesse Plemons is doing. I stand by my take, like Eddington did it better. Sorry. And that's just kind of how I feel.
Plemons is good. I will say that. I do think Plemons is really good in this. And he, for me, was like, he was the shining star of it. And I don't think Stone is bad here. It's just like nothing surprised me about this movie. And I think the script was also a problem. It's written by Will Tracy, who also did The Menu, which I didn't like. So,
thank you. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. Hated The Menu. I was very much someone who saw that movie and I was like, oh, guys in a studio exec room, guys, Eat the Rich is in. We need a script. Let's do that. And I just not a I think deep down it's just maybe I'm just not a Will Tracy guy. Yeah.
Hong Chow innocent in The Menu. I just want to be clear on that one.
Yeah.
Hong Chow innocent in Wuthering Heights.
That is
I was gonna say Hong Chow innocent in everything she's in actually. Okay, cool. Well, I didn't anticipate this. This is a big win for all of us here. A big win for anti-Yorgos Lanthimos people. You know, we got to represent. We got to show up. Begonia at 10. Okay. Any other Begonia thoughts before we press on?
No.
Okay,
Go for it.
Great. Okay. So this is where things might get a little finicky already because what I have at my number 9, I am going to try and do some very quick half-ass internet research on Letterboxd to make sure I might be picking the right movie or not.
Oh, I'm getting scared. I'm getting a little nervous.
Me too. I'm getting nervous. I don't...
Because we know it's not F1, Gio. That's the thing.
Yeah. What is that supposed to mean, Sophia?
You know what it means.
What does that mean?
You know what it means.
All right. I'm just going to be honest with myself, and we'll see how we go. So in this number 9 slot, I'm going with my personal number 9, a movie that I could have a little bit of a bias toward because I haven't revisited it in quite a while. And I might think differently. I'm putting The Secret Agent at number 9.
No.
Okay. So what do you want to do, Gio? Because you don't sound like you're sold on this.
Speak your piece before. Okay. You speak your piece.
Okay.
I'll just sit here and stare.
So I always try not to do this. I always find it really grating and annoying when people are like, yeah, but compared to this movie, it's not as good. And people do this all the time now with directors. We just did it with Yorgos, where we're like, Poor Things came out 2 years ago. Like, let's relax a little bit. We got I'm Still Here last year in the Best Picture lineup. That was quite a good, powerful movie, in my opinion. And The Secret Agent is doing something similar-ish, and it's taking this idea of Brazil and legacy and all the things that happened in that country, and it's making it really longer. And I thought it was fine. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I thought it was okay. I thought it was kind of like a little bit of a slog to like get through. It's like 2.5 hours long. But I will say, Gio, we were there at TIFF together. This was the neon day, and we all had this big day at TIFF.
Though. That's the thing.
Oh,
because
interesting.
when we go to
interesting.
when we go to New York, I always try to save stuff for so I had to force myself to wait, and I was very much in the back from everything I heard at Cannes. I've been wanting to see it, but I know you did the Neon Day that you were just mentioning.
Yeah, this was like the first press day of TIFF, where it was basically like it was The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, and I think it was Just an Accident. Like we had basically 4 foreign films all distributed by Neon back to back to back to back all day. The Secret Agent was in the middle of that, and I will take personal blame. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I just like didn't connect. Maybe I was just like getting my feet on the ground at TIFF. I wanted to revisit it. I didn't. I'm playing it at 9.
Gio, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I have to veto this. Like I absolutely have to veto this. I thought, oh, we're starting really good. Wow, everyone's so friendly at 10, 9. You ruined it. The Secret Agent, for me personally, my 3rd favorite film of last year. I think it's
full stop. Last year, full stop.
Yeah, I think it. In my personal opinion, I know we're gonna vary. I thought it was the best international feature I saw of last year. I think it is one of the most inspired Best Picture nominees in quite some time, alongside Nickel Boys, which I've just raved about early on in our prelude. Kleber Mendonça, I think the way he plays with genre in it is so fascinating. He was like, oh, you got like B-horror and, very much 70s political thrillers, a lot of Costa Gavras films and a lot of Brazilian cinema, and the way it reflects, Brazilian memory and how that translates to art and to pain. And I think Wagner Moura, Best Actor nomination, is just something I championed the whole year. And I'm glad it actually came into fruition, because I think the way, albeit very reserved, is breathing life into like 3 characters in such a very absolute detailed manner, where you feel like these are 3 different entities he's playing, especially when you get to that epilogue. I think it's incredibly fun and charming. I know you mentioned how the pacing fell for you. I think from the first moments, we just did a pod recently, and Brendan Hodges, we were talking about how it's very like in the essence of a Le Carre novel. It takes its time, it's patient, but great time initiative, like stuff where he's in the dentist office and then all of a sudden, he's in her bed. Like there's this suavity that you think of espionage, but he's really not a spy, and it's the way it like flips that over its head and subverts a lot of expectations, because I'm sure a lot of people went into Cannes thinking like, oh, spy movie, The Secret Agent, and that's not what it is at all. And I think it's an incredibly passionate film that I think is also stunning to look at. I think it has one of the coolest soundtracks of a film of last year. I think it's an incredible vibe, and it plays to more my sensibilities of just like a lot of 70s movies that I can watch that are incredibly slow. So that's it. I don't know, Sophia, if we're like in the same ballpark. I don't know if you're as high on it compared to me, but I also know I don't think you want it at 9.
No, I don't want it at 9. This was one that was much better, I think, for me actually on rewatch, because when I saw it at Cannes, I was in a really bad seat. And sometimes like when you're doing the full festival thing, like that can affect it. If you have someone who's on their phone the whole time and you can only see half the subtitles at certain moments, like that can affect your experience. But in rewatching it, it reminded me a lot of my favorite 70s movies. It had this like almost Bertolucci quality to it, where you really don't know what you're going to get from one moment to the next. And I think the Moura performance, like by the time you get to the end and he's playing a 3rd character, what's so remarkable about it, I think, is that you feel an ease to that character because he hasn't gone through what his other characters have. And you can feel that through the subtlety in his performance. So I really like it. I don't think it belongs this low. So I'm with you, Gio.
Okay. Cool. So we've determined that I just don't have good movie taste is pretty much where we landed on that one.
But I get this slowness
no, not at all.
On a first time watch.
Yeah, no, I mean that's literally the reason I wanted to rewatch it. It's a 2 hour and 40-minute 70s espionage like genre bending movie, and like that's a lot to take in the first time that you see that. So what's gonna happen here? This is a technical call out. We mention this on every collaborative draft. So because Sophia, you landed first on the spinner, you're going to have the first right of refusal for a veto. If you refuse, then it jumps to Gio. Gio, if you don't play a veto, it sticks. So Sophia, are you going to play a veto here for this?
I think this is Gio's veto to play.
Yeah, I think
Put
I have
pressure
to.
on.
I'm a bit biased. Yeah. What can I say?
This is like your movie, I think. So yeah.
Which is saying much because there's another film here that was my favorite film of last year that I think will be defended enough that I don't think I need to fight for as much as The Secret Agent.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But I like that movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, glad that I could break up what was so fun for the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, immediately. You ruined it.
I did. I ruined it right as fast as I possibly could. Okay, well, we're just going to move up the line then. So I'm going to go to what is next for me. And I'm going to be putting Frankenstein here. I think Frankenstein is fine. I think it's way too long. And I think there are moments that I've started thinking about more, the longer I'm removed from it. And I actually think like it'll age quite well. But my biggest takeaway, and I think it like kind of sticks to what we said about Lanthimos, is like Guillermo del Toro, like he's just not my guy. I don't know what to tell you. Mm-hmm. Like that's just kind of how I am on most of his stuff. I'm just kind of like, yeah, pretty good. And I walk away like totally okay. I did, unfortunately, probably unlike you guys, but I had to experience Frankenstein on my television in my home. I did not get the chance to see it in the theater. Strikes me as a great theatrical experience. I didn't get that, so that could have hindered me a little bit. I think Mia Goth is really great, and I do think there's some really cool stuff. I also just don't have a huge passionate connection to Frankenstein as source material. I know people like love Frankenstein and love that gothic version and vision that Del Toro does. I'm pretty impartial, so I'm putting it here.
Okay, I can compromise there.
Okay, better than The Secret Agent.
Yeah. Like Frankenstein was first off brutal premiere day at Toronto where it was that at Smashing Machine, and we all decided to eat before, and that was the first real meal I think I had the whole festival.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was fighting to stay awake during Frankenstein because, frankly, it's a bit slow. And we want to talk about a film that I think is too long. It is Frankenstein, and very much being carried by Elordi's performance, who I think it is fantastic. And I do think Oscar Isaac doesn't get enough credit from what he is also bringing to the table too. But I think at this point, especially for a film in Del Toro's filmography that he is very much talked about building up to, a film that is using a lot of the shit he's done already from like Crimson Peak and a lot of visual techniques, and he's aping from it. It's fine. I was a bit underwhelmed, especially, this is the creme de la creme and what could be a temporary closing chapter of like his fascination with monsters, especially after Nightmare Alley, which I adore. I think Nightmare Alley rocks.
So good.
So I was very shocked by how much I thought it was all right.
Yeah. I saw this way too late at night, 10:40 p.m., which is just like not the time to see this movie at all. It is so slow. I think in a way that like Ethan, you were talking about The Secret Agent feeling slow. That's how I felt about Frankenstein. And I feel like the Rashomon style structure just does not benefit it. It makes it feel much longer than it needs to. But I think the crafts are gorgeous. The costumes are particularly great. And I love Elordi's performance. And I'm glad that he was recognized this year. But not high up on the list for me. So I'm okay with this at 9.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Do we think Frankenstein is going to win any Academy Awards? What are we going here for? Production design, costume design? Like, what are we working with?
And makeup, yeah.
And makeup. I think those 3.
Yeah.
3? Yeah.
I wasn't expecting BAFTA to go match it all entirely. I thought maybe they'd deviate, and the fact they just checked it down, I was like, oh, I think everyone's kind of agreed. I mean, the fact the movie's a Best Picture nominee is kind of shocking compared to there was like out of TIFF, we're like, oh, this is good. And then it plays, and then people just really dug it. And then frankly, at this rate, the Academy, we were talking about Yorgos earlier. They just like Guillermo. And like,
Yeah.
I get it. Love
Mhm.
guy, fuck AI, cool dude, makes fun movies, but it's at a rate where he's kind of like, this movie's now getting a Criterion release too. And we're like, sure, yeah, he gets whatever he wants. And I guess that's fine at this rate. But Frankenstein, yeah, it's had a long run, especially with that weird slate Netflix had where we're like, this is what we think is going to be here. And then the end result was like, oh, sure. I mean, we got in, so who cares?
Yeah. I think this was like part of the kind of like the House of Dynamite run, the Frankenstein run, like the big weird end of year stuff. Train Dreams was thrown in there as well, where it was like we all thought it was going to be House of Dynamite, and then it just like zagged and ended up being Frankenstein and Train Dreams instead. Okay, so we've got 10 and we've got 9. This is where the real fun begins. Gio gets a pick.
I have a feeling that Ethan is going to use a veto or a veto override at this point, because the next two movies I think of, one I think way less than other and should be lower. The other I think is really good, but in the grand scheme of things, it is still towards the bottom. And so I don't know which route I want to go through first, because either way, I think knowing Ethan, he's going to burn one of them.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be
go
so
with
sure.
Which one's lower in your heart first?
I think that's the way to go. Yeah.
Okay, then I'm going to go with F1.
Okay, fuck off. That's kind of stupid. But here's the problem though. Okay. Yeah. If I burn a veto here, and this is all hypothetical, I'm not locking anything in. Okay. If I were to play a veto and say no, I want to bump F1 off the board, which I'll be honest with you guys, the listeners and myself, I did want to come in and be like, how high can we get F1? Right? Sure. That's sometimes that's a fun exercise to play. If I do that, then you play another movie, whatever it is, what it is. Sophia, you're just going to put F1 at 7. Is it worth it to veto it, to get it one spot?
Yeah.
Like that sucks,
Yeah.
It's not worth it, in my opinion.
I was being nice because there's another movie that I think I know you really like that if I put it would be controversial.
That would be rude if you put that there, though.
And to be fair, it would be defaulted, I assume, because you would, unless you go back-to-back vetoes.
I only have one veto, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that is true.
I took the spot, and this was my hesitation with C, is I only get the single veto.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of banking on someone to veto something later where I can overwrite it and then gain a little bit of power back.
Yeah, F1, I have to place here. I'm ready to hear your thoughts about it. I think you should. No, you go on. Like, you're the highest, I assume, of the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love it. What about F1 was this thing that really just struck out to you and like just landed in that 10th spot? You're technically the old guard academy this year. They said no to Wicked and they said yes to you. So
exactly. Yeah, we got to stand strong. People trying to age us out, we got to stand strong.
Fighting ageism one race car at a time.
Exactly. One really fast car at a time. I mean, okay, so Sophia, you're not going to veto this, right? You're going to keep this here.
No.
Okay.
I'm keep it there.
Is this in line with where you want it? Would you have it lower, higher?
I have it at number 9, but if I'm being honest, I like it more than Frankenstein. I had a better time watching F1 than Frankenstein. So those two are almost interchangeable, but it just has to be, it's near the bottom for me just because I prefer so many of the other films. And I did have a good time watching it though. Like I had fun watching F1.
Okay. I don't hate it. I just want to say, I don't hate the movie. I think
it's not the worst nominee, like people are saying. It's really not.
No,
it's not.
I just think with F1 to me, a film I was very excited for. I mean, it has all the right parts, literally. Mm-hmm. And it just felt like a rehashing of just every like race film I love, but just done with the Top Gun Maverick formula on a far less efficient level. I don't think even the races on a consistent level are as great. Like, I think the opening F1's amazing. Like the really Daytona sequence, amazing. Fantastic. And then after that, it just varies and some of the editing's weird. And then I think Brad Pitt is on the most autopilot he's been in like some time where he's doing the Cliff Booth chuckle like every other scene where I'm like, dude, you're pissing me off, But yet somehow it still kind of works just because he's Brad Pitt. And it's also this weird rehab project, and also this thing that doubles as a giant advertisement. So Apple's getting now, it worked, the F1 rights for streaming for next season.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a very cynical version of the film I want. And then at the end, I was like, I'd rather watch Days of Thunder or Ford v Ferrari or Rush, you know? And I don't know, maybe if it works and the sequel somehow, Jerry Bruckheimer is able to get Tom Cruise and Pitt to do a pseudo sequel to Days of Thunder, and it's Pitt versus Cruise, then screw it. Why not? It was for a good cause. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Like, Are you kidding me? The smooth brain aspects of my brain are like locked into that. Like, I will be there opening night.
The 2031 Academy Award Best Picture nominee collaborative draft is coming, and that's going to be number one.
F2. You know?
Yeah. No, I think it's great. You were just like, Ethan, talk about why you love it, and here's why I don't like it. So that really was meaningful to me. I mean, I don't know. I just love F1. This is just like a really me-coded movie. I just like dad movies. Like I hate to break it to a lot of people. And I know F1 is just like super formulaic. I get it. It is 100% like predictable, beat for beat. You know what's going to happen. You get it. Old guy coming back, trying to retake the crown, fights the young guy. Like, I don't know. I literally, it is one of those movies that I just vibe with, and I don't know what to tell you. Miracle is one of my favorite movies. It's literally a miracle with race cars. Like it literally is that exactly. I totally agree with you. Brad Pitt is really phoning it in. He also just looks great. So I'm tuned in. I think Damson Idris is like quite good as like a little bit of a kind of a against Brad Pitt. I like Carrie Condon in this movie. I get it.
I like. Yeah, I love her. No faults. Like every time she talks, you're like, oh, Sonny Hayes. Some say not that he's never what, he was a never has been. I was like, wow.
I like that she's good at her job too.
Yeah,
good at her job. Staying overtime, working in that dark office, trying to shave off those milliseconds. Whatever's going on with Tobias Menzies in this movie is like pretty incoherent, and I think is fantastic all the way around.
Cartoon villain. Yeah.
Him meeting Brad Pitt. Was that? Oh, Javier Bardem is great.
Like, honestly, fantastic. Just rewatching it recently, he might be the MVP of that movie. And also equally as good looking as Brad Pitt in that film.
100%.
To a level where I'm like, damn, okay, you're kind of getting dog walked here, Brad. But like he's incredibly charming, and their comedic rapport with each other. Very good. Like, again, I don't hate it. Like, I think it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. You know, I get that a lot of people like either don't like it or think it's just like really a plug and play kind of a movie. And I don't disregard any of that. It's just a movie that really works on me. Like, unfortunately for me, you get to the end of the movie and he doesn't look at his playing card, and I'm just like, we fucking did it. Like, that's as good as movies get. And I think it's fantastic. This movie, super fascinating best picture experience experiment. It makes $630 million worldwide, is distributed by Apple, who fundamentally don't put movies in theaters and don't know how to do that. And they made a fuck ton of money with this movie. It is a huge worldwide phenomenon. And I think that means something. And I think it's fascinating that it did get a Best Picture nomination. I mean, it's also nominated for 3 other Academy Awards: sound, VFX, and something else. Editing. So I wouldn't be surprised if it walks home with sound or something. I'm not going to like bet on it, but I don't know. There's a lot of support for this movie from the bottom up. So I think it's wrong.
I think sound we can count on for sure.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
want to say this, but I also don't want to get dogged on by you guys. I have a final opinion.
Speak your hearts. Tell us how wrong we are. No.
You're not wrong at all. I would have loved to see a best original song come out of here.
Which song?
I would have been
Tate
fine
McRae's
with that.
putting in the work, you know?
Tate McRae, is that what you said?
Yes, putting in the work on this soundtrack.
Oh, God.
That's not
I don't
the
know if
song
I can
like.
support that, but
yeah, no.
I knew it. I see. This is why I didn't want to say it.
I like the Roddy Ricch song. One of the few times they have like directorial flourishes in that movie, when they do the split screen between Damson Idris and Brad Pitt, and like the Roddy Ricch song's playing. I was like, I need more of this in the movie. Like, this is awesome. But no Tate McRae. I'm sorry. I agree with Sophia.
Okay. Tate McRae should be nominated for an Oscar. Okay. So F1's at 8. That's wrong, but that's okay. We move forward. Sophia, you've got the 7th spot.
Okay. So I'm really sorry to do this because I didn't look at your lists ahead of time.
Mine?
So either of you, if you have lists, I just went into this
blind.
and I'm just going with my personal list. I think this movie is good. It's just not cream of the crop to me when I think of the movies that I loved this year. Like, I mean, we have a few movies, like I gave a few of the movies left, like that I reviewed, like an A grade. And so they're very, very strong opinions on them. This one I think is really beautiful. And I think the cinematography is gorgeous.
Please,
and
you don't have to do this.
It just didn't stick with me in the way that some of the others did. So I'm going to propose Train Dreams at 7.
Fuck you too. What is wrong with you guys?
Is this like your favorite movie? Did I not know this?
Yeah, this is my favorite movie of 2025.
I'm sorry.
You see, this was why I was being nice, because I was like, it would be rude if I did F1, or like I was scared you would veto it, and then I'll be like,
and
well,
then play Train Dreams and 1-2 punch me.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't have vetoed it because it's not much higher for me. Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. I think what is best in this situation, so I'm going to veto this. I'm going to use my only veto here. So I think we should put a pin in the Train Dreams conversation. Because it will come back, and it sounds like it'll come back at 5, which, I guess he can never win in a collaborative draft. I'm just going to take 2 losses right in a row. My two of my faves. Okay.
I'm sorry, man.
No, that's okay. I'm looking forward to that conversation. I'm genuinely curious. But I think we should save it because we're gonna replay it. So I'm gonna veto this. That's gonna get rid of my single veto. What are you gonna put here instead?
See, this is so hard. And Gio, I'm sorry to do this to you now because I'm putting one of your favorite movies here.
Sure.
It's not the one I think you might think I'm putting here because
Oh no.
No, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm not doing it, I promise. Okay. I think we need to maybe revisit putting The Secret Agent here as a
yeah, I can compromise.
Pick at
I
7.
can do that. I'm fine with that.
No,
I get it.
I'm not putting Tim Tam here.
Okay.
We're gonna no.
I'm cool with The Secret Agent at 7 because look, I know there are just a lot of films here we love collectively.
Yeah.
Some that are just clear, like top 3 or 4 are not going to be budging at all. It's purely order.
Right. Yeah.
I will take the win I can get of having Secret Agent not at 9 and bounced up a bunch. So if this is what it takes, sure. I can accept for the greater good.
Yeah. Like feels like it's my number 6. So it's one of those like of the 10. It just makes sense, I think, for it to go here. I couldn't do it. Yeah,
no,
there.
Fine.
So
I forgive you. It's fine. You're good.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Wow. Whole lot of two-way collaboration going on here.
Well, what are you gonna do here? I'm a little nervous now.
Yeah, you did Secret Agent at 9, and you just
yeah. Well, I feel like I do. That's a small victory for me. Secret Agent at 7 instead of Train Dreams. That's a win for me. Yeah. What am I gonna do here at 6? Let's see. I mean, I just gotta work up my list. But I am getting a little bit into this territory of where I kind of am viewing this as like a little bit of like a power ranking situation, and I'm trying not to get into that. I don't want to go this route because the movie I want to play here is strong in the Best Picture race.
Oh, okay.
And while I don't think it will win, I think it is near the top of that kind of tower. But I'm going to play a movie that a lot of people really, really love. And I'm going to play Hamnet here at 6. This is a really pretty movie. It is a movie that emotionally affected me. Like you said, Gio, like we all kind of... We all cried. Yeah. I was crying so much in this movie, especially at the fact that like I hadn't seen my kids for many days at that point in time. This is a movie about the loss of a child and what it takes to be a parent. And that is really difficult. So like I was definitely the target audience. I think the discourse around this movie has been quite, I won't say like influential, but it's been tiring for sure. Yeah. As we all know, like the Academy Awards season is so long now that like you have to go through the take cycle 8 times and it's getting really tiring. So I will say, I think the biggest thing for this movie for me is that makes it a little bit frustrating because it worked, is that it is very much like a pull the strings, like, okay, you cry in this part and now you cry here. And it did work for me. It made me cry at those parts. I haven't revisited it since TIFF. I want to. I know my partner wants to see this movie, and it is like emotionally affecting, but compared to the other movies here, I think it's really good, but it is not in the top of my list.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I love Hamnet. I think it's a really successful adaptation. I think that the performances are great. I love Jacoby Jupe, Paul Mescal, Jessie Buckley. And yeah, I think from like a power ranking perspective, or just the thinking about like the influence of the films in the race and just how people feel about them, like 6 feels low for this film. But I think I'm just worried about playing a veto of what you would put here instead.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You're worried?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you think? What do you think I would put here instead?
Okay, well, it's not going to be Train Dreams.
Yeah, and that's
what makes me nervous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly.
I'm not gonna
getting into like.
Okay, it wouldn't be Train Dreams, and it wouldn't be One Battle. I'll just say that.
Right.
That. So yeah, you're playing with a little bit of fire, but I'm not gonna like reveal my hand.
I know, but we're just getting into dicey territory.
You should veto it. You should veto it. You have 2 vetoes. See what happens.
I do have 2 vetoes, but
Come on, play the game, Sophia. Have a little bit of fun.
He's goading you. Do not.
I'm not goading. I want this list to be successful. I want it to be right.
I'm telling you right now.
But I don't think it will be right if I veto it.
I'm calling it right now. If you did veto, the possible subjects that would be in that spot, because it won't be Train Dreams, would be Sentimental, which I know you would be upset about.
Yeah,
or
I
Marty.
would kick right out again. And then I have to waste 2 vetoes on one pick.
Yeah, and I don't think, I agree with your take, because I also adore Hamnet. I think it's fantastic. I think it's Chloe Zhao's best movie. And I think everyone in it is brilliant, and it's incredibly beautiful. I just don't want to risk it.
And it doesn't deserve the hate. It doesn't deserve the hate that it gets.
No,
like
it doesn't.
It's just like the talk around this becoming like this award season villain. Absolutely,
I don't
ridiculous.
understand that at all. Yeah,
stupid.
People
I don't
bored.
get it.
It's to like what you said, that every season now feels like an eternity, is in March. Like we still have weeks of this shit. And by this point, if we did this at the end of February, we would be, all right, like we don't have to hear this anymore. Yet we still have to hear another round of this. I'm scared of what discourse is going to come in like the next 2 weeks alone, that we have to be subjected to.
So it's important to note this episode will release just a few days before the Academy Awards. So our conversation will be a little bit dated, unfortunately.
Sure.
This does come out the Tuesday before the Oscars. We are recording this on February 23rd. So we are still 3.5 weeks out from the Academy Awards. So we're in a different take cycle than when this episode will be released during.
Our listeners. Wow.
Yeah. You should veto it.
I'm not going
You can
to.
trust me. No. I'm dead. I'm dead serious. You can trust me. You can trust me.
Put Secret Agent at 9.
I will not be playing Sentimental Value here. I will not be playing One Battle. I won't be playing Train Dreams. A little bit of a risk for you guys. That leaves Sinners or Marty to be played at 6.
I can't do that.
Do you want one of those instead of Hamnet? Like, we're just 6 through 4. It doesn't really matter, guys.
Yeah,
we just got to get the top 3 right.
I almost want you to play Sinners here just to see what happens online to you.
I would never.
Setting yourself up.
I would never.
Okay.
Specifically, while your names are attached to this episode, you would let that happen.
No,
we didn't make the picks. That's on you. We would be controversy free.
No, you know what? I'm not going to veto it.
Okay.
Because I know what's going to happen if I do.
Well, you don't.
Yes, because I think what would happen, I'm just gaming it out.
Okay. Yeah, let's hear it.
If you play... Oh, but Gio doesn't have a veto anymore.
I don't.
Yeah.
Mine's gone because I had to waste it immediately because of Ethan. This is what happened last year.
Sorry, not sorry.
It's the first 2 or 3 picks with him.
It is.
I have to waste mine.
I know. The bottom of the board is a lot more volatile than people think. collaborative drafts, they lull you into this sense of like, well, it's the top half that matters. But if you don't get the bottom half right, your top half is fucked. Yeah. It's a tough beat. So are we Hamnet 6? Is that where we're at right now?
I'm afraid you got her rethinking now.
I know.
The gears are turning.
But you said you were gaming it out. I'm curious.
I'm gaming it
what
out.
That game looks like.
So here's the thing. So I think what would happen if you are being honest with me and you're not going to play Sentimental here.
No, I would never.
I think it would be Marty Supreme.
That's fine.
Okay.
So
and you're not okay with that at
Supreme 6? Here, not really.
At 6? Dude.
6 feels low for it.
Game it out. I play Marty Supreme at 6.
So if you play Marty
what is Gio going to play at 5? Gio plays Train Dreams at 5.
At 5.
Fuck you.
So
That's so you guys own this board. You totally control this board against all my better wishes.
But I'm gaming it out here. So if, for example, if I veto this and then you pick Marty Supreme here, I'm not going to like the issue is then I would just have to, I think, play. I'm just thinking of what I would have to play at 4.
Right.
Then. And I think it would just put me in the same situation I was in before, because I also don't necessarily trust that my top 2 will get in the right place that I want.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we can collaborate on that very idea right now, because I feel like we're kind of aligned on that. Okay. You could effectively, if you play your hand right, you could effectively bump Hamnet from 6 to like 3. That's a substantial bump.
Yeah, but do we want Hamnet at 3? I love Hamnet, but
so now the argument comes out.
Compared to some of the other films here, I adore Hamnet, but there's some great stuff here that.
Yeah, because I think I will.
This is a real conundrum. I'm having a ball. This is super fun.
It's really difficult. It's having the extra vetoes.
Yeah,
is not great.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
But part of me also wants to defend Hamnet against all of the people who hate it and move it up higher.
Yeah, if we put out a graphic where Hamnet is 6, it feeds into the narrative. We can't do that. Yeah.
To be fair, in defense, the movie is going to win an Oscar for sure with Jessie Buckley, and it's making a lot of money. So it could just be people on the internet being on the internet, and the real world is defending it enough.
Yeah, could be. Don't know. Again, waiting on Sophia to make that decision.
This guy, who knows?
I don't know what to tell you.
What a snake.
This is so difficult. Okay, I will.
I mean, I'm speaking from my grave, because Train Dreams is going to get played at 5. So I don't.
Top 5, man. You're talking about top
5 out of 10. Gio, don't try to spin that as a good thing.
It's not a top 5 movie.
Yes, it is. F1 is a top 5 movie, if we're being real.
Oh my god.
Copium.
Okay. I will. I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna keep Hamnet here.
Okay. I think that is the most difficult decision anybody with a veto has ever tried to make.
But I want everyone to know that I would rank it higher. I just I got scared because
I'm being pressured.
I would rank it higher, and I had the ability to do so, but I didn't. That's what I'll put on the graphic. We'll make sure that's clear.
That's fine.
I find it fascinating, and it probably speaks to me as a dummy that I played 2 of the greatest pieces of literature and their adaptations in low spots. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you did.
All right, Gio. Well, let me pose this, because you've got the 5.
Sure.
You don't have to play Train Dreams, is the thing. You have free will. You could do something cool here. You could really just make this board
do a zag,
let's zag. See what happens.
Or not. Train Dreams number 5. Number 5, Train Dreams.
All right. No, that's cool. It's cool.
But
cool. Whatever.
Okay, can I just say in your defense, you got into top 5. This is
out
a movie
of 10.
That
top 5 out of 10 is bullshit. You need top 3.
In real life, I don't think this is above a top 7 candidate for Best Picture. The fact that he even made it in this position this whole season, I remember us talking at TIFF. Like, this is the little movie that could. It played at Sundance, and it was just pure love of people like Ethan who like manifested it, and it did really well in the precursors. Yeah. And I'm very happy. It's a very good movie. I think it's a very moving film. A bit too much of the Terrence Malick-y discounty for me that I would just be like, I could just watch a Terrence Malick film. But I also think Joel Edgerton is an incredibly underrated actor who does some like absolutely phenomenal work. And it is very moving and it works. Also, some of the best narration of a film this year. It's just very moving. I feel since I've seen it at Toronto, it's a movie that I'm like, it's good. But I never felt like I had to defend it. Like the conversation around it possibly winning Best Cinematography constantly perplexes me because I think it's good cinematography. It's a good looking movie. But I think also they're just kind of like, well, good cinematography is when something's rule of thirds or something's in the center of the frame. And I'm kind of like, compared to what Kanji is doing in Marty or One Battle cinematography, which I think has some of the most gorgeous nighttime sequences. I think like when I load up the 4K of that movie on like DCP or digital, it's unreal. Or Sinners. I just am not, I will say better looking than Frankenstein. Like I think
thanks for throwing me a bone. That really is helpful no problem. In this situation. That feels so
I
good.
think it's really good. I will say, if you want to break your heart, out of all the movies that I showed my mother for Best Picture, she could even finish Train Dreams. She was like, nah, I'm good.
No, I think that's sick. That's great. Yeah. Honestly, Train Dreams fucking sucks. Hate it. Bad movie.
Oh my gosh.
Really bad movie, actually.
But
with Train Dreams, I feel like for me, what Chloe Zhao does with nature and like meditation and grief, I think she does that much better in Hamnet than Clint Bentley does in Train Dreams, or at least in a way that I connected with more and just felt, I think, more strongly about when I saw it. Like, I think Train Dreams for me also, I don't like the voiceover very much. Okay. And I also read the novella. I read
this is interesting. This is what I was curious about.
So I'm absent on
I read it after the fact, and I wish that I almost hadn't read it. Like I think that as an adaptation, it doesn't totally work. They cut some really cool stuff from the book. So I don't know. I mean, that happens with most adaptations, right? You have to make choices. But yeah, I feel like in the duel of, meditative experiences in nature, I would go with Hamnet.
Okay. Well, you didn't. You put Hamnet at 6 and Train Dreams is at 5.
Which is funny.
But I was making a choice for the overall good of the board. That's true.
Yeah, the board. Yeah, being very collaborative of you. Very, very good work. Yeah,
we're gonna keep collaborating later, Ethan. Just like you said.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's empty promises, really, at this point in time. Because this board is shot.
Sophia? This is your last time on the pod. I'm sorry.
This is it. Okay, neither of you are ever coming back.
I made a choice at 6 that benefits both of us in the long run. That's what I was told.
Yeah, both you and Gio. Where's this guy?
You cannot do that when possibly the next film we're picking, you have the goddamn Wheaties box behind you. Okay, like.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, yeah, fair.
I don't see no Train Dreams playing in the background of your room.
Okay, this is getting far too personal. I'm being attacked. This is insane. I've talked about Train Dreams a lot on this pod. I've talked about it a lot on other social media platforms as well. It just works for me. Like it just really is successful for me. Didn't read the novella. I think that's part of the reason that I really like this movie. From what I've heard, people that did read the book didn't work for the adaptation. I have a predisposition to movies that are ultimately just about the sadness of how life just keeps moving on no matter what you do. And I actually think that is like kind of a core theme in a lot of the movies we're about ready to talk about, which is really fascinating. The voiceover really works for me. It just does. I saw this at TIFF. The cast was sitting behind me, and I'm glad that they couldn't see my face and my tears when the movie ended. I also like, I think it's not like a cop-out, but it's important to me. A lot of these movies I did see at TIFF, and when I see a movie at TIFF, especially a movie like Train Dreams that is about like that idea of like loss and sadness and hope and like fundamentally like what you're supposed to do in life. This was the last night that I was at TIFF. I really missed my kids and I really missed my wife, and kind of all the pieces fell into place for me to just be like, this movie just like overtook me in my soul. Gio, I think we were at the Train Dreams after party together.
Yeah.
Ryan McQuaid was there as well. Great time. They had some pretty good food. I had a great little
Delicious.
go.
Are you kidding me? It's probably the most I ate the whole festival, considering I didn't eat the whole festival.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
it was really good. I like it. I think the movie just like ultimately works for me. The one thing that I think is worth pointing out, the last time I watched this movie, I just dropped a quote that comes from this film. And with that, Grainer was finished as a logger. I think ultimately the thing that works the most for me is like the instantaneous finality of so much of what happens in this movie and how that connects to nature and the bigger, broader picture of like how we move on and move forward as a society. And that's just affecting stuff for me. So glad we could put it at 5.
I will share something that Joel Edgerton shared at the Q&A, which has stayed with me, and I thought was a really beautiful quote, which is, grief plus time equals the memory of love.
Aww.
Wow. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You think you watched WandaVision before that Q&A? It's very WandaVision.
I've never
coded.
seen WandaVision, so I don't know.
Chloe Shaw has, because she has been quoting that line from WandaVision a lot. So
yeah.
he definitely watched it.
That's really funny. Okay, so sweet. So Train Dreams at 5. Kate, we're on to the top 4. Sophia, you have to make more decisions. We've got Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners to go.
Now here you could zag. There are some zags here you could do.
Yeah, I could.
Zag at 4?
I think compared to what we expect.
You could zag. Yeah, you could zag here. I could see a potential zag. You're right.
If I was going, I think if I was making a personal choice here, I would actually zag.
Mm-hmm.
You should do it.
I think but I don't think it makes sense for the good of the board.
Oh, now you want to be
I don't have a veto.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm being really collaborative. I am being really collaborative.
I know you are. You really
know.
This is a collaborative draft after all.
It's a collaborative draft. So I'll put up Marty Supreme here at 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it makes sense. Like for me, like I can't really, I could have put Sinners here.
That's what I thought. Maybe if you did a zag, Sinners
that's what I was thinking as well.
That's the zag. That's the zag move. But I feel like on the board, if we're thinking of what the 10 nominees are, and just, I don't know. I think that, Marty Supreme makes sense at 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is, of course, Josh Safdie's Dickensian ping pong odyssey about, growing up in New York and chasing your dreams, starring Timothée Chalamet as Marty Mauser, one of the great characters of the year. I love Gwyneth Paltrow in this movie.
She's so good.
I interviewed her for press for this and had the time of my life talking to her about playing Kay. I also think the crafts are pretty remarkable. Darius Kanji's work as DP, Jack Fisk, all-time production designer. I mean, when I saw this movie, like it was at Gio, you were there. We saw it at that screening, the secret screening at NYFF. Like there was just this electricity in the room that just felt like such a new New York classic in that moment. And so much of it, like Jack Fisk just takes you back to that time. And the score, which should have been nominated, everything about it, I think really on a technical level is pretty great. And this was one where I took my parents to see it Thanksgiving weekend, and I was like, how is this going to go? And my dad is like a very stoic person, after a movie, he you just never know what you're going to get. And I was like, what did you think of that? And he said, I loved it. That was great. I was like, oh, okay. Great.
Wonderful.
Okay. But yeah, so it was, it's just one of those things where I think though it makes sense at 4.
Yeah. As much as I would fight for it to be higher, I don't disagree. Uh, it was my favorite film of last year. It was my most anticipated film of last year by a bullet. I think just I remember showing my dad Uncut Gems the first time. This is a guy who grew up in the Bronx, and I remember I thought he was having like heart palpitations, like he needs to go to the hospital. He's bald, dude. He's heavyweight. He's sweating. He's like, I just knew too many guys like that growing up, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think a lot of the films that either I watched with him or snuck off and watched, like a lot of Abel Ferrara films or a lot of just Cassavetes or like these godfathers of what Josh and Benny both have like adopted into their sensibilities as filmmakers and who they are now today. And being in that screening was like the cherry on top, where I think even like Sophia and I were talking beforehand, it was like overwhelming. Like the amount of people there, just everyone, like Dennis Lim being like, okay, you guys know what it is. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is the movie. And the thing where it lives up to every single expectation I had, and to also where it is just endlessly rewatchable. And I have watched it countless times. And I think, you know, with Jack Fisk's work, we've mentioned Kanji and Jack Fisk, and it goes being repetitive, but like I really think what Chalamet is doing in this film is just the type of like performance and myth making we don't really see in contemporary films, especially in today's current climate, where this is like the comparisons of like very like 70s Pacino or like Hoffman, a lot of new Hollywood era of performances where, you know, I'm being annoying of like, I want this guy to win an Oscar for this, because we have adopted the notion that we let the guys wait. The older they get, they wait. They get better. Usually true. It's rare we give the award to not only the actor at the right time, but for that iconic performance. Like, think about if we gave it to Pacino for Dog Day. You wouldn't be winning for Scent of a Woman. You know, and it's just one of those things where Marty Mauser, I think, is already so ingrained into like a cultural consciousness, and also what that promo tour was and everything about the film. It just, it takes me back to just a time of filmmaking that like I really, and sort of like The Secret Agent, connect to. It inspires what I love about film. That score is, I think, like some of the most heavenly shit I've ever heard. And Daniel Patton, it's unreal. It's disgusting that got snubbed.
If I need to walk fast, I put the score on. I need to get somewhere quickly.
Just
make it move quick.
And like every like line, it's always the tiny little things about that film. Like every time, like one time I rewatched it, the way Fran Drescher, when she's given the piece of the pyramid and she goes, like the little motherly like sound, the way like Chalamet goes, Sal, and like stomping his foot, or like just the way he's like yelling fuck, like he's like fuck, like there's just, it's endlessly rewatchable. And I think Sophia said it perfectly. Like, it's just one of those films when you watched it, especially being in New York, instantly canonized. Like, it's one of those things that are like in the lexicon of like, when I think of great New York films, like The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, or After Hours, or stuff like that, like Marty Supreme is in there. And I adore it. Like, it's just, it's great shit. But I can
New York in its bones. Like, it feels like it's just like to its core. Like, you like when I was just at Lincoln Center this week watching a lot of the movies for the Diane Keaton series, you know, a lot of those, like they just feel different. Like, I mean, they are from another time, obviously, but you just get this sense of place that I think this movie captures so well. It feels almost like you're watching a documentary at times.
I got to rewatch Marty Supreme. I thought it was quite good, and I liked it. I have a personal thing with Chalamet, and I'm working through that. You know, I think I'm working through that in lifetime, and I'm trying to figure it out about how I feel.
Music videos? Is that it? You need more SD Kid collabs.
Yeah, 100%. That actually, he didn't do that enough, and so that was like kind of what I'm holding against him. I think go a little harder on the press tour next time, and then that would actually really seal the deal. I do have I have the Wheaties box behind me. I do have a thing of ping pong balls up here that they gave out during the screening that I was out, which was just like fantastic stuff. I think there's so many parts of this movie that I really do like, and I think really do work. I have my own qualms with it, but Gio, like listening to you talk about this movie, rethinking through it, I'm like, oh, this scene is really good. Oh, this scene is really good. Oh yeah, I really want to see this scene again. So like, I think that amounts to something. The last 15, 10 minutes of this movie, some of the best stuff of 2025, in my opinion. As a father myself, really intense, impressive stuff. I am really captivated by Marty Mauser as a character, and I think you're totally right. Like, instantly entered the lexicon. What I find so intriguing about this movie is that it is A24's top-grossing movie of all time, made almost $100 million domestically. It's got $147 million worldwide, topples Everything Everywhere All at Once by a few million bucks, and it just seems like A24 did everything right with this movie, and I find that really interesting, especially if they're going to walk away with Chalamet potentially winning an Academy Award or a production design award or whatever the case may be for Marty Supreme. I'll play devil's advocate. It also set a record for the most amount of losses at the BAFTAs by a single movie. So
the most Marty Mauser thing to do in England.
Not ideal there.
It's true. London never goes well for him, as you
know.
know.
Really on brand. Really on brand. Tough beat. But I think like from a marketing perspective, A24 did everything right with this, except release the Marty Supreme jackets.
Yeah, where the fuck's my jacket?
Public. Where's my jacket?
They would make $1 billion, telling you right now, in New York, if you guys somehow listen to this, a Puerto Rican fucking Marty Mauser jacket.
They're making fucking all kinds of hats.
Yeah, but
nobody wants a hat.
Yeah. I did get the Knicks hat, okay? Because it's the only one in orange that makes sense. Like, I'm not wearing a Yankees hat orange.
That's fair.
It's colors.
That's fair. Okay, so Marty Supreme. I have pre-ordered the 4K from A24,
I already have,
so
yeah.
I will be owning this movie, and I will be rewatching it for sure. Okay, cool, good stuff. We're in the top 3 now. We're in the home stretch. Should I zag? Could that be fun? I mean, Sophia, here's where we sit. You've got 2 vetoes. You own the board.
I know.
You really determine how this works out.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a control freak. It's
because if I fuck up twice, you can just double veto and make it work.
Yeah.
So I think I think we should get really collaborative. I think we should just
Let's just talk it out.
Let's just talk it out.
Let's
I
just
think
talk it out.
Let's just talk about this. At 3, well, how do you guys want to talk about this? Do you want to work top down, or do you just want to go up? Can we all agree? I think we all want the same number 1.
Yeah.
I think so. It has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. I am aligned with Sophia on what a number 2 should be, I feel like.
Okay.
That's where I think you guys are gonna push that film up to number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I know what the board is gonna be.
Okay.
But
with that in mind,
do
you want to talk about anything else before I play?
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Okay.
I think you're gonna say
I'm gonna put Sinners here at number 3.
I knew it, yeah.
So this is actually lower on my personal rankings because I have F1 and Train Dreams thrown into the top. And that's what I've got on my board. Probably a good thing I privated that list. Nonetheless, it's known now to
is
the public.
F1 number 3 on your
Bet right.
That's amazing. Okay.
Do you?
Might not have the car, but we've got the driver, and that's what matters the most.
Driver number 9? Yeah. Number 9.
So, Sinners going here at number 3. I think Sinners from a power ranking perspective is at number 2. And I was alluding earlier, I think Hamnet is actually in a number 3 position.
Mm-hmm.
But I think from this board, I like Sinners at number 3. Sinners is the movie that everybody is talking about all the time. So I don't know how deep we want to get into Sinners and praise what Coogler is doing and Michael B. Jordan is doing and how amazing it is that it saw 2 supporting actor noms on the day when we kind of didn't think either of those would really happen. Mm-hmm. Sinners is the whole package that everybody wanted it to be and more. Financially successful, culturally successful, relevant on every single scale. And it's about vampires. So hopefully we get more vampire movies in the future.
Really horny, which vampire movies that are great understand. And that the number
like
1
is Dracula.
Yeah. And it's wild that the most nominated film in Academy history has multiple scenes dedicated to just, you know what rocks? Cunnilingus.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler's I love women, my wife, and I just finding the body.
It's amazing.
Insane. It's
amazing
just
stuff.
It is great. I don't know how long we want to just go into Sinners. I figured it was going to go down to 3, considering that our number 2 film is mainly going to be a film that I know I really love. But I have Sinners higher, and I know that you two were going to go for it. And also, I don't have a veto because I wasted it so early.
Yeah.
So there's no point also.
Sure.
I just kept I'm like a Survivor player who has the idols all the way to the end and
hold them.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not going to play one here. I think like this is like, if I was thinking of, I think what, a collective board might look like for, what other people might want, like having Sinners in one battle in the top 2 makes a lot of sense. But I am just too personally connected to sentimental value. Yeah. And that was, it was my favorite film of the year until I saw One Battle.
Yeah.
So I feel like having those 2 at the top just makes sense for me. So we can talk about Sinners now.
Yeah. It's also like Marty Supreme and also like One Battle. And I'm sure for you guys, for different reasons, sentimental, very rewatchable.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think the moment I realized Sinners was a big deal, besides like after it came out and everything, I remember showing it to my dad. It was on this like very tiny TV in Long Island. This is a very picky dude. Bit older guy. I'm a little nervous to hear some of the takes about this movie. I'm like, oh Lord. He watches it and the first thing he said, that was amazing. So is there going to be like Oscars for this? And I was like, holy shit. And the next day he was like, that might be one of the best things I've ever seen next to Citizen Kane, where I was like, okay, we need to like on the brakes a little. I love the movie too. Really good. But let's hit the brakes. But it's a big deal. I think this movie, just being the sensation that it is remarkable. Yeah. Considering the pieces that came out about it opening weekend, the fact that especially now Warner Brothers and the state they're in, where we're watching 2 studios fight over it, and frankly with this and our inevitable number 1 pick, it's like you're putting out stuff like this. It's being the hit. 90% of the Oscars is going to be One Battle or Sinners, just going blow for blow. Why are you selling? And seeing that a film that instantly becomes in the lexicon, like you mentioned, Ethan, about vampires, about also just the infringement of Black spaces and art, and just the way Ryan Coogler kind of finally, I wouldn't say found his lane, but this is a guy who's worked in Marvel for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And since Fruitvale, he's done films based on IP. And to finally, like after Wakanda Forever, I don't know how you guys feel about it. A film that I watched, it's fine. But considering the production of that movie and the unfortunate loss of Chadwick Boseman, one of the toughest things you have to pull off to make that even watchable, he did. And I was like, you got to give this guy a blank check somewhere. Yeah. And they did. And it probably was one of the greatest payoffs in Hollywood history. And it's just awesome. Like, come on, like vampires, they're gunning down Klansmen. It's the coolest shit. That Ludwig score, like
unreal. It's one of the greatest like heavy metal drops in the middle of a movie. When it pans up to the moon is pretty unreal. I will say, like, to counter all of those really cool things, the ending of this movie is incredibly emotionally effective for me, and I think is one of the strongest aspects of this movie. And like effectively lands the plane in a very, very successful way, where I think it could have maybe not done that as well. So I think there's like a lot of things to be happy with here. Yeah, Sinners is pretty incredible all the way around.
Yeah. I think the ending is really cathartic, and I also just love so many of these characters. I think what I really like about the film too is, like, when I first saw it, I was surprised by how, and I'm saying this as a complimentary thing because I love history and I love detail and I like when things take their time. Like, I love how slow the beginning is. Like, it's very methodical and establishing this world and introducing you to these characters. I was so hooked, and I love like Southern Gothic, really like learning more about that time period in history. And I feel like it gives you so much good stuff before you get into the vampires, because going into the movie, I knew that vampires were a part of it, but I kept thinking like, wait, okay, when are we getting there? But also, like, I'm loving this part of it. I almost want to just stay here because there's so much just richness, I think, in how you're introduced to the characters and how you learn about the world. So I like that he kind of took that risk too at the beginning, because I think that's why the story has the payoff that it does.
Yeah. Pretty impressive. Gio, the only other thing I wanted to mention is what you talked about with Coogler basically being in part of the Marvel machine for so long. We've talked about this on the pod before. I don't know what episode specifically, but it's a really fascinating case study of someone that was able to use that to their benefit and understand how to make a movie like this and take parts of that experience and make them like for them. This obviously has a post-credit sequence that I really like. I think is a really cool part of the movie. And to be able to like escape that machine and then go on to make Sinners, which is remarkably financially successful, is a very cool thing at large. I said it before on the pod, but I remember I was in Boston for work for the Boston Marathon, and I skipped my work obligation, like a team dinner that night, to go see Sinners opening night in Boston. And incredibly worth it. So great. Okay. So Sinners is at 3. Gio, you got to play 2.
What if I just
you could. It wouldn't matter though. She's got a veto.
It's a fruitless venture.
Here's the thing though. What if you zag and then I zag? Because you could zag and then Sophia could veto and then I could zag and just override.
The thing is, I just don't wholly believe
why would you?
Yeah, we're just
because I want to win. I want to win something.
You did win something. Train Dreams is top 5.
That's
we all win today.
We all did good. I think so far it's good.
No,
so,
don't try to gaslight me into thinking I did good here on this list. Well, my favorite movies are out of the top 5. Well, I guess except for 2 of them. Yeah. All right. Anyway, regardless.
Yeah. So why don't we put Sentimental Value at 2?
Okay.
And the first movie I watched at TIFF got me and Ethan both got rained on immensely.
Yeah. Oh God,
brutal
work we're putting in for these movies at TIFF.
First movie, I wasn't gonna watch it originally because, like I mentioned earlier, I always wait till New York. New York is essentially the best of Cannes and a lot of other great stuff. So I just had nothing else. I was like, you know what? I'll go. I think pretty instantly when Trier is doing a lot of the stuff with the house and the narration, describing it as a space. You know, we mentioned space with Hamden. I think this is the other film that feels so tied to, and it's funny that they're in the same year being acknowledged in the same year. The way to describe the house is almost like this entity that lives and breathes, and that's just the opening. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be amazing. Like, I think it's one of those things, like, pretty instantly, like the last few films we talked about, like relatively early into it, you're like, this is going to be a great film. You just know. And you just have that quartet of performances that are just some of the year's best. And I think Stellan Skarsgård, I think, might be my favorite supporting performance of the year next to someone in the next film we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just, it's very otherworldly in like a way that I really enjoyed Worst Person in the World. I haven't rewatched it in a long time. I instantly thought this was better. I think this might be Trier's best film. I think Joachim Trier, what he does here is magnificent. I know you two love it more. I'm going to let you guys wax poetic about it because by all means.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the TIFF screening with you, and it was, the first movie of TIFF, and I remember going into that, and it was like, everything out of Cannes was like, this is the movie. Like, you have to see Sentimental Value. And it was the very first press screening. Like you said, we got absolutely downpoured on. We were waiting in the rain for hours to see this movie. And it was worth it. I think it's quite fantastic. My one thing that I hold against this movie, and I've seen it a couple of times, once at TIFF and once a couple of months ago, is I do still butt up against some of the editing choices in this film. And they don't all completely land for me, but there is so much else that works that just kind of overtakes that. Everything you mentioned with the house, I think, is really, really powerful. And there is a little bit of like Train Dreams equality to that, where it's like this thing holds a lot of memory and value and isn't that important. I have 2 daughters, so as a father myself, watching this movie is like, cool, I hope I don't fuck it up. And so that's impressive.
You were like,
the whole time I was like, don't become a filmmaker.
I'm going to give my daughter the piano teacher too, just like he does with his grandson.
Has your partner seen it, Ethan?
No, but we were talking last night. She really wants to see it. And I was like, awesome. I'm going to buy it on digital for us. And we will be watching Sentimental Value. So like this is next on the slate.
You're going to show it to her when Gustav makes bad choices. You're going to be like,
this guy.
I'm not doing that. Don't
Couldn't
worry.
be me.
No.
Won't be me. Don't worry.
Well dad, aficionado here.
Yeah. You know, I think too, like I do have a little bit of a personal connection because, you know, I do the podcast and I do all of this like many of us do as a passion. I have a day job. I have kids. I have a family. And so like I have this passion. And so like there is a lot of this in that movie where it's like he did kind of follow his passion and it became his life. And like because of that, he sacrificed other things and he has to come to reckon with that late in the film. Elle Fanning nominated for this movie, of course. Incredible performance. I love Sentimental Value. I'm very excited to own the Criterion. And I think it's a great addition for that collection as well. Yeah, some really, really powerful stuff in this movie.
Yeah, I saw this at Cannes and it was the one I was waiting for because I loved The Worst Person in the World. And before this year's Cannes, this was The Worst Person in the World was
Sophia.
My favorite movie from
She loves
that
something
festival.
about this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is.
I'm back.
Okay.
Okay, great.
I was glitchy right as I was starting to talk about it.
Can you pick it up? Can you just start over? You just said like, yeah, I saw this film at Cannes and I really love, and then it cut off. So can you just,
okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll start over. So I saw this film at Cannes and it was, I think the movie I was just really waiting on because the last time I had been at Cannes, The Worst Person in the World was my favorite film that I saw there. I was, a brunette about to turn 30 and I felt like that film just understood me on a deep level. And I just thought, okay, I need to see all of his movies from now on. I want to see Renate Reinsve in everything. But then when I saw Sentimental Value, I thought, I like this more. And so much of that, I think, is because I'm just sort of like growing up with his movies in a way. And I feel like he made a version of, not of that movie, but I think he's exploring things that he started to put down with the Julie character in The Worst Person in the World, but just made them a little bit more mature and expansive and nuanced. And one of my favorite movies is also Ordinary People. And when I talked to Joachim Trier, we talked about that movie and how it connects so much with Sentimental Value and this idea of, how parents and children can be so similar and what happens when they're similar, but they can't communicate and the rift that can really create. So I love that, how that's explored, I think, between Stellan Skarsgård and Renate Reinsve here. And I just I lost it seeing this. Like I just cried and cried and cried and thinking of like my relationship with my sister, and my mom is, she has sisters too. And it just felt like this, I don't know, it just felt like he understood me. And whenever you can, I think, engage with film and with art in that way, like you're really lucky when that happens. So I love this movie so much. My favorite of the year until I saw our number one.
Well, very fitting that it would be our number one here coming. So, and I think it's fitting, that Sophia, you get to officially announce what the number one spot is. That feels right.
It does feel right. Yeah, I'm the PTA girl of this show, I think, in the episodes I've come on for. So our number one pick is Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, a really, I think, incredible political odyssey that I just I will never forget the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah.
Stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, who has my favorite supporting actor performance this year, Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall, Chase Infinity, just an incredible cast. And it's just one of those movies, I think, that it feels so right for our moment and so relevant to right now, but it also feels like it could exist in any time, which is such a strange thing, right? Like it feels like a classic from the days when VistaVision was invented. It feels like a 70s film, but it also feels like something that we found from the future. And only someone like PTA, I think, could make a film like this. And I'm just so happy it's been getting all of the accolades that it has this season, but also that audiences have really connected with it too. So I love One Battle After Another. And I think it always had to be number one.
Yeah. I think you've written about this movie a couple of times, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I reviewed it for Awards Watch, and I wrote about Chase Infinity as really with her breakthrough. I think what's so cool about her role in the movie is that she is, for most of the movie, we're following her. People are chasing her, people are in pursuit of her, and then
Mm-hmm.
she has this quality when she slams that car door and the camera's on the door and it just everything
So
revs
good.
up. She becomes almost like a mythic hero, almost like how I feel about Jodie Foster in The Silence of the Lambs, where all of a sudden I just think I never get to see women like this on screen. Like this feels so new. And it's just such a cool thing, I think, that he does with that character and that she does in her first ever film role.
Yeah. I mean, to that point, I mentioned that Molly and I went to go see this a couple of nights ago.
Mhm.
And for me and for us, that's a big deal. We got to get my partner's mom to come up from out of town to stay with our kids so we can go out to a movie
Yeah.
and we can spend $20 each because it's a 70mm screening.
Sure.
And then we got to get there an hour early because it's a sold out auditorium that has no reserved seating. It is like a whole package. And this is obviously my world. And so I hold, movies like One Battle After Another very near and dear, where it's like, okay, that was my 5th time. This is an important movie for me. If you don't like this, I don't know what happens to my future. So with that in mind, I find it fascinating that you mentioned that about Chase Infinity's character of Willa, because the very first feedback from my partner was like, that movie was so much more feminist and empowering than I thought it was going to be based on the trailer that I saw. And I think that's a really fantastic takeaway for that movie. We could talk about One Battle for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever. It holds up. We've all seen it a lot. And I think there is exactly that quality where just every time you just can't help but lock in to what's going on. And I know, Sophia, you and I have talked about this movie a couple of times now on the show. Yeah. And the moment that we both really enjoy is the when Bob finds Willa and we get that little bit of a kind of a voice crack. And there's something really, really special. The score is obviously mirroring what we're getting with the devices. And there's just so much good stuff going on in this film.
I think also with that scene, what's so great is that DiCaprio is a performer who I think is now getting to an age where I don't see DiCaprio. Like he's aging in a manner where whenever he's done transformations, it has been like a Clooney-esque where it's like, that's still DiCaprio. The performance, the work is great, but he's there. And with the last few years where he's aging in a way, like whether it's Flower Moon or this, that sequence when he comes up, the way his cheeks are just really rosy and like puffy with the like I don't see DiCaprio one bit. Like that is Bob Ferguson, Ghetto Pat in there. Like he's just it's this point in his career. It's also a role that, like, as much as I homer for Chalamet winning, like if he hadn't won yet for some reason, like this would be his moment. Like this is just some of the best work of his career. You can argue like a top 5 performance. And it also just like impeccable comedic timing. Like otherworldly comedic timing, every phone call, just the, like him yelling like life, like him just frustrated, like every vein, like great phone call acting, like the way he's like crawling on the tatami, just every like nuance he does, especially his chemistry with Del Toro, who was the other performance I was mentioning, and someone like that stuck with me a lot, as a Latino guy, seeing like the cool, calm, collected person who is not the protagonist is actually Sensei Sergio. Like the complete antithesis to Bob, and yet they just fit so perfectly. And it's also a very charming relationship. Like the scene when he saves him and he's like, "Oh, we're on offense." I'm like fist pumping. I'm like,
so
take
great.
A selfie.
It's like it's so awesome. Like the scene that actually gets me really emotional is when Bob's just like overly apologizing and he's just like, "Tranquilo, Bobby, tranquilo. We've laid siege for hundreds of years. Don't get selfish on me now." I'm just like, that I think perfectly summarizes everything about that character and everything in a movie that for some reason now, especially, we need our filmmakers to overtly explain what the politics of what movies are, considering what you see here, I think is a pretty damning result of what someone thinks of happening in the world and also an artist that he is adapting. But yeah, it is just endlessly rewatchable. Like every needle drop that I cry every time we see the first appearance of Chase Infinity.
Every time.
Too.
Every time,
it just
man.
worked. Like, God damn, Tiana Taylor's amazing. Like to the point where when she reads the letter, it's like all the memories snap back. So Sean Penn, someone who personally, I'm not really the biggest Sean Penn fan. Like he's amazing in this. Like he's just like incredibly vile. Like it, like demonic work. Vile. I'm watching the screen where I'm looking at it. I'm like, this dude is like, this is abhorrent. Like the character he is creating here to a point where it's like I don't see Sean Penn. And in PTA, I'm happy it's his time. It like frankly, it's his time. I know Sophia and I have been talking about this for months where I think people are very bored.
Time. Yeah.
People are trying to talk themselves into certain ideas, very hopeful. It's so over. Like this is a movie that when it came out, we were at TIFF, Ethan. We were hearing rumblings of the press screenings. And then at New York, by that time, opening night.
Remember at the party when we realized it got an A cinema score?
Yeah. We were geeking out. We were drinking. What? All we did, I'm going to tell you right now, literally 90% of what me and Sophia did that party was like us, Ryan. We were just referencing One Battle. Like it just came out. We've already seen it multiple times. And we were just going to like, oh, that's a 3-seat Hummerdew jet ski. Like we're just quoting the movie. I'm like,
Daddy-daughter games.
Yeah. Daddy-daughter games. Daddy-daughter games.
Oh, yeah.
Like
real normal behavior.
Yeah, I know exactly.
I think it's great. Yeah. I think it's really great. I think there's an interesting parallel between One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme, and then Sinners to a lesser extent. But all of those movies kind of have what we talked about with Marty Supreme, where a character immediately enters the lexicon of the culture and is something that people identify with, whether that be through costume, makeup, values, like whatever. And I think that is like really speaks to the power of those movies, especially in a year like 2025. And I think that that's really important. Okay. We've completed the 2026 Academy Awards, or I guess the 2026 Best Picture nominees collaborative draft here on the Movie Draft Podcast. Went well for some, less well for others.
Okay.
But we have a final board. The top three are banging. That's it. That's what matters most. So at number 10, we had Begonia. At number 9, Frankenstein. I think Frankenstein at 9 is going to piss some people off. I just want to put that out there. Okay. Number 8 is F1. That's also going to piss some people off. Number 7 is The Secret Agent. Number 6, Hamnet. Right, Sophia? That was at number 6?
That's at 6.
Okay, great. Yes. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss
don't fall for it. He's setting you up to look bad when the episode drops.
Oh, I'm not doing it. I'm just making sure we got accurate data. That's all that's important here. Number 5, Train Dreams. Number 4, Marty Supreme. Number 3, Sinners. Number 2, Sentimental Value. And number 1, One Battle After Another. Important question for you guys. As I mentioned, we're recording this about 3.5 weeks out from the Academy Awards. Right now, moment in time, One Battle After Another is our Best Picture winner.
Yeah. It's kind of been done since September. I
think so.
Yeah. It's just, maybe if this movie was not made by PTA or if it wasn't even out, I would totally buy into the Sinner stuff. The fact that it's just PTA, he's 14 noms deep. He's never won a Best Picture, never won any. Like, it's just the most like inevitable conclusion of just, I think, you mentioned the like elongated seasons. Lately, if they just really like a movie, they just shower in awards. Like Everything Everywhere, Oppenheimer, like Anora, which in retrospect was so like uppity of that race last year. And then when we see the show, we're just like, oh, I guess it was
Makes
just
sense.
Yeah. It's done. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about One Battle too, where I think at the beginning of the year and when Sinners came out, it did have this Everything Everywhere quality where it was like the movie. But the thing is, in that year, nothing else came around that broke that, right? Like The Fabelmans didn't hit in that way. Banshees of Inisherin didn't hit. My Beloved Tar wasn't that movie. But when One Battle distracted everyone from Toronto and the New York Film Festival and everything else that was going on, and people were saying this is the movie, it just hasn't really stumbled yet in a way. Like people love it. And when that happens, like you just have to pay attention to that.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's pretty much wrapped up, like you guys mentioned. So hopefully this doesn't age poorly, and hopefully nothing in the next 2 weeks comes out about this movie that'll destroy its chances. I find that highly unlikely, but it's number one here on our list, and I do think it is going to be number one come Academy Awards night. Massive thank you, Sophia and Gio, for taking part in this yearly exercise. A yearly appearance for you, Gio. I guess you'll be back next year, hopefully.
Like, what is this? I'm just relegated. Is this punishment for train dreams now? I will not be back till next year.
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, I gave you a shot last year. You showed up a month later after the episode, and now I realized that was a mistake. So I got to go back on that. Sophia, if people want to find more of you, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Sophia_Sim, Letterboxd and Blue Sky at Sophia Sim. You can find my podcast, Oscar Wilde, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're going through all of the Oscar categories. By the time this airs, we'll be done with them all. And you can also find interviews with cast and crew from a number of the movies that we talked about today and reviews of these movies and more at Awards Watch.
Yeah, go check it out. Gio, what about you? If people want to find more of you, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at the Giovani Lago. You can see my reviews or interviews at Next Best Picture. I'm chronically online. I will be on Twitter reading whatever discourse now that comes out right after this ends. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll just be constantly tweeting at you. Have you rewatched F1 yet? Have you rewatched F1 yet?
Look, I just rewatched the opening a few days ago. Okay. It was great. I stopped around the,
That's enough. That's all I need to know. I stopped. That's where you went wrong.
Yeah, I didn't finish it.
Next week, we are staying in award season. We're going to be redrafting Best Picture winners. We did this last year, but last year we did it in a regular style draft. This year, we're going to do it in an auction style draft. Ooh. This is us trying to mix it up a little bit. We're going to see what that brings to the draft. We're going to be doing myself, Danny Jarabek, Jonathan Fuji. We're going to be back at it with Best Picture winners, and we'll see. We record that episode before the 2026 Academy Awards. So whatever wins on the night, technically ineligible for that draft, but maybe I'll make a stipulation. Who's to say? Be sure to listen and subscribe to the Movie Draft Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We're also now on YouTube with video. You can go subscribe to us over there and join Luca or join whatever in the comments. I almost called him Luca Guadagnino. Luca on the brain for some reason. Thinking about challengers from one of our prior episodes. You can join all sorts of people in the comments. New episodes will be released weekly on Tuesdays. We'll see you then.